Good morning, everyone. I am so pleased to see you all here today. This is a really special place, and we are grateful that you're joining us to give thanks for our community, this place that we teach and learn and serve each and every one of you and the larger community. Before I go too much further, I would like to offer a treat.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for visiting Nolde Forest today. I'm Francie Nolde, granddaughter of Jacob Nolde and the youngest daughter of Hans Nolde. Older brother Chris and I are the remaining children who grew up at Nolde Forest. At the age of 6, I would get up before everyone and walk in the woods, awed by nature. Nature has a way of showing us the interconnectedness of all living beings, and that's more important today than ever. That insight, learned in the forest, has been the bedrock of my life. Our family is grateful for your continued investments to the infrastructure in Nolde Forest Environmental Education Center. The recent renovation to the McConnell classroom has already made a difference in students' lives. Your inspiring commitment to Nolde Forest and other Pennsylvania state parks and forests show your understanding of the importance of environmental education for the students and families who visit. Investments that support education are critically needed and essential for the well-being of the community. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. When I told Francie you'd be here, she said, "Brent, I want to say thank you."
That's good, that's good. It's okay to feel it.
Thank you from all of our team here at Nolde Forest. I always keep some notes to try to keep on track, so that's what I'm going to do. We're a small but mighty crew. I've got 4 full-timers. There's 6 seasonal staff here. 3 of our seasonal staff are off during the winter time, so they will actually be joining us in just a couple weeks. They'll be back. In the middle of March, they come back and work March to November. We have volunteers here today. We have friends here today. We got partners from a variety of organizations, and I want to just give a shout out to a few of them. Baird Ornithological Club is here. Mengel Natural History Society is here. John Paul II Center for Special Learning is here. Project Feeder Watch through Cornell University. Shh, Susie's in the back looking at birds right now, as a matter of fact. She's here today through Cornell University. The Angelica Creek Watershed Association is here. The PA Master Watershed Stewards are here. Reading Area Community College is here, represented. Alvernia University is here. Governor Mifflin High School is here. Berks County Intermediate Unit is here. The Reading School District is here. And Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation is represented. And of course, the Friends of Nolde Forest, all here in this space. We also have some special guests that would like to share their thoughts a little later. DCNR Secretary Cindy Adams Dunn is here. We're also grateful for her leadership, passion, and dedication to the mission of Nolde Forest. She's top-notch. Dolores Portner, along with several of her team from the John Paul II Center for Special Learning, are here. The superintendent of the Reading School District, Dr. Jennifer Murray, is here. Dr. Jamie Becker, professor of biology at Alvernia University, and he brought a few students with him. He's here today. Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach's here. Thank you, sir. State Representative Jacqueline Rusnock is here, and Senator Judy Schwenk is here. These are each members of our community who, through the presence here today and many days throughout the year, add value to this place and serve with us to create a welcoming, safe, and accessible place to teach and learn. This place wouldn't be the same without you. Before I introduce our first guest speaker, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to those of you who can join us after. As Ricky said, I'll be happy to give a tour of the home in which Francie grew up after we conclude here. For those of you who can stick around, please do. When we leave here, we think about this space. This is the McConnell classroom. It was named, they just underwent a major, significant renovation to update and renovate this place. This is our one-room schoolhouse. It's named for Clifford McConnell. He was the Deputy Secretary of DER prior to DCNR, and he believed that environmental education was should be at the core of all learning. Like many, he knew more than 50 years ago that our community needs to develop an environmental awareness that can translate into an environmental ethic. Arguably, this is more important today than ever. Climate change, environmental and educational injustices, an ever more beautiful and diverse society that needs an education. In, for, and about the environment. Investments like these are essential for helping our community connect with nature. Here we help them develop critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, and understanding that we are a part of nature and that nature teaches us that diversity makes us more resilient. I'm really proud and thankful for the people of Pennsylvania who understand the importance of investing in education, our environment, and more specifically, our children. Let's be honest. We haven't made this easy for them. Let's continue this important work together. As you can see, it's another great day in Nolde Forest. If any of you need anything, just look during your visit, just look out for one of us in uniform. We're happy to help you. We'll help you as best we can. We have some kind and generous guests here today that would like to say a few words. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce DCNR Secretary Cindy Adams-Dunn.
So I dug a tissue out because Brent's got me going. So this is clearly a place of the heart. I mean, you can tell a lot has happened in this room that's very special. And in fact, the last time I was here watching the children learn about one bird, two habitats, I had to dig a tissue out because watching our young faces open up with awe and learning, the birds that are seen here that could be seen in South America and Central America and other places were pretty special. And just that understanding and growth that they were experiencing in this room was just touching. I mean, just very touching. And then to hear about the deep connections in this community. This is clearly a place of the heart. And, you know, hearing the opening statements from Mrs. Nolde and hearing Brent's talking about his staff and what happens in this place. Yes, it's a place, and we're here to talk about infrastructure. But it's not infrastructure for infrastructure's sake. It's infrastructure for people and communities and for learning and education. That's what makes it so special. And what's not to love about this place? There's kids, there's critters, there's birds, there's bees. There's a lot of love happening here, and that's what's so special about Nolde. And I've come here over the decades, sometimes as a guest speaker, when I wasn't working for the department, and then I come here every time that I possibly can in my role as secretary of the department because it models so many important things here at Nolde, and I love to feature it. We use it as a model for learning in our state park system across the Commonwealth, so it's just great to be here again at this very special time. And I just want to give my hats off to Brent and his great staff of educators and maintenance staff and all the employees that make this place possible. It takes all kinds of skill sets that bring this to be what it is and to really affect the lives that it affects. But they do a phenomenal job here under Brent's leadership, and I really want to commend them for the energy they bring to this work every day. I was an environmental educator ages ago down in Maryland. I moved from Pennsylvania down to Maryland to try environmental ed. I loved it. It takes a lot of energy. And I always like to say back at central office, there's only one job in DC that I think I probably am not up to doing, and that's environmental ed, because you have to just bring it out every day. It's that classroom, those kids one day, it might be your 20th day in the same program, in 2 months, but that's their one day, and you've got to bring it out from somewhere every time you are with those kids and create that special, memorable day for them. So what they do here is really phenomenal. And the connections you have in the community here that have built over time add the depth and breadth to Nolde that I wish we had everywhere across our system. But it's a model of partnerships, deep and rich partnerships, not just casual partnerships. And Brent mentioned all of them. I'm glad Brent mentioned all of them because they were so long, I would definitely mess it up. But I definitely want to mention the Pennsylvania Park and Forest Foundation. Margarita Quesada is here on the board of PPFF. And they're our statewide partner with friends groups at over 50 parks and facilities. And they help us from everything on fundraising to deepening the program to public contact. Everything that's possible in the public lands of Pennsylvania, so we really appreciate that. But today, we're celebrating the completion of the $436,000 renovation at the Cliff McConnell Hall. Glad that Brent mentioned Cliff McConnell. My dad worked for the old Forest and Waters, then became DER. Cliff McConnell was someone that earned his respect. My dad, with him, respect was an earned item, not a given, and he really respected Cliff and his work. And it's just really neat for me to learn about Cliff being a person who understood the depth and richness of environmental education in parks and environmental ed centers, not just the great things parks are known for, like picnics and hiking and biking and paddling, but deep and rich learning that can happen in the public lands. And so it's just, hats off to Cliff for that recognition early on, but that's built a system of environmental ed that's pretty special. We have about 100 environmental educators across our system, so we are really, in state government, the front line of environmental education across the Commonwealth, something I'm very proud of. And since Governor Shapiro took office, we've had $120 million invested in our infrastructure of parks and forests. And this is the backbone of our outdoor visitation, outdoor industry in Pennsylvania. We're coming to understand how important this infrastructure is, not just to nature, not just to people's experience, but to our economy. So Governor Shapiro, based on his experience, mostly I think as a county commissioner, understood how important quality of life and how important trails and parks and infrastructure can be to a place. And so he's really invested and helped us invest in the park and forest infrastructure of the Commonwealth, not only for the visitors and environmental ed, but also for tourism and economic development. So we have had the opportunity to renovate places like this and really bring them back to their former glory. I've been, like I mentioned, I've been coming to this very classroom for decades, and it was rustic, and then became really rustic, and then became a little too rustic. and then it was kind of humid, and it wasn't quite serving what it needed to serve, and all of the deep and rich programming. So it was time. And thankfully, and thanks to the legislature as our partner in budgeting, and thanks to the governor who recognized the need, we have had some money to spend, and we're starting to see the results of having this increased ability to serve the public through improving and fixing up the infrastructure. And we'll be adding, in this budget cycle, the governor proposed $5 million additional dollars to start to bring in a cavern, Pennsylvania's first underground state park. A donor in Fayette County wants his family's cavern, huge cavern, the largest calcareous sandstone cavern in the country, to become a state park. So that's starting with this budget cycle, should we be successful, and also bringing back the Glenanoco Trail, making it safe, and bringing that back to public use, which will be amazing. So this budget cycle even increases our infrastructure abilities should it pass as proposed by the governor. But the renovations here at Nolde Forest reflect our commitment to making public spaces more accessible and welcoming for all Pennsylvanians. And I want to do a special call out to our FDC, Facilities, Design, and Construction, and our engineering staff. Cliff McConnell was an engineer. Last week was National Engineers Week. And we did a special call out to our engineers. You know, civil engineering and engineering is done by our facility design and construction is so critical to our public mission. Bilal Baki and his team are back here somewhere toward the back. Maybe engineers are a little more shy, but seek them out. They got their logo on. They do the good work to create the backbone of the infrastructure system that we enjoy when we visit the public lands. And hats off to them and their good work. And when I'm speaking to staff, you know, we always encourage efficiency and effectiveness and all the things that government leaders try to do to really encourage all that. And we, I remember saying to staff once, well, if you're not making a few mistakes, then you need to push yourself more. But then the engineers looked at me. I said, oh, well, you guys can't make any mistakes. Sorry. No mistakes in engineering, but everyone else can make a few little mistakes. Anyway, for every year, more than 4,000 people of all ages and backgrounds come to this space. When you think about, 700 acres, as Senator Schwank and I have talked about this special landscape we're in here at Nolde Forest. If you look at a map, you can see the forests that surround here, but 700 acres in an urban area is very special to have people have a real wilderness type experience this close to home. And so 4,000 people come and have that experience here at Nolde, and the trails and such. If you haven't been on them, it's really worth going on. And the history of Nolde is something I'm just starting to understand by reading up before coming here. But it began in 1904, and this place has embodied the spirit of conservation from the beginning. Jacob Nolde, an immigrant from Germany, purchased the land and planted a pine forest. And when the family sold the property to the Commonwealth in the late 60s, it was always with the intention that it become a public place demonstrating the proper management of the natural resource, the proper stewardship of a forest. And that's more important in today's society than ever. Forests and trees and forest cover can blunt the impacts of climate, can keep people cool, can keep water systems functional, clean, and renewed. So forests are more important than ever. So Nolde Forest, with 4,000 visitors, is a great opportunity to educate about the value of forests, to try to garner more forests other places and rebuild some of the forests that we've lost. So these renovations here at Nolde are more than the infrastructure, they're more than the tiles, more than the paint, more than the ceilings, more than everything. They're really ensuring that this place continues to serve generations of people coming here to learn, coming here to experience, coming here to be served by what this wonderful place has to offer. And our investments, our infrastructure investments in these places are investments in education, recreation, and in our future through the work we're doing with children. And so I'm really excited to be here, as you can tell, and I'm really excited to be here with friends like Senator Schwank and Commissioner Linebaugh and all the people that make this happen. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know your representative, and I was really excited by your presence here. That's a good sign of your interest, and I look forward to getting to know people here that I don't know. And with that, my job is to introduce our next speaker, Dolores Portner, who's the John Paul II Center leader, who's here to talk to us about this wonderful program that she provides here at this special place. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. This is a special place. I can vouch for that because I get that feeling every time I come here. I'm really happy to be here today. And I guess first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Dolores Portner, and I work at the John Paul II Center for Special Learning, and I work in the adult program there. And part of my job is to take my individuals into the community to be part of the community. Some of the things we do in the community, I'll take them out. We go bowling, we go to the farmer's market, we might go out to the cafe to have a bite to eat, or we might help deliver meals to the elderly. But I'm lucky enough to be one of the staff that comes here with my individuals to volunteer at Nolde Forest. And sometimes we'll volunteer, or other times we just hike and enjoy some of the outdoors. We've been involved in a lot of different things here. I don't know how many years we've been coming, probably, Brent, it's probably been, what, 3, 4 or more?
I think it's 4.
4? Okay. Time flies. One time we were invited here to Nolde, and we came into this building, and some of our individuals, we made a craft. We made some birds, and then we later did some bird watching here in the building. We looked out some of these large picture windows, and some of us were able to identify some of the birds that are here using the bird guides. Most of my individuals have never done this before, and coming here gives them a chance to experience something they wouldn't really ordinarily get to do. I was thankful to be able to come here and come into this building, and it was accessible to get into and had accessible bathrooms, because a lot of times we have to call ahead and find out if we can get in the building. Sometimes we can't. So I can't take my individuals that can't get around as well on that trip. And so, yeah, updating and investing in our infrastructure here has meant a lot to us, that we can get out and come and enjoy all this. So making the buildings more accessible allows all of us to come out and enjoy these things. The bird watching really was just one of the things that we did here. We do a lot of things. I bring some of my people over here to do a lot of the volunteer jobs, and during the colder weather, like right now, some of our guys come over and we'll set up an assembly line, and they work putting little items in a bag to make a little bird. So the people at Nolde will take that out to the schools and teach them about nature. Other times we've hiked through the woods and we've gathered acorns, which we planted in soil so they would sprout, so they could later be planted in the forest. And when the weather gets warmer, which is soon, I'll be bringing some of my individuals here to the turtle pond. We'll be pulling weeds and pulling some of the invasive plants out, so the native plants can grow and they don't get choked out. In the fall, we've raked leaves to keep some of the drain pipes clear. Other times we'll just hike the trails and pick up the large sticks and clear the trail. And also when we walk, we'll find things lots of times, and we'll just talk about the things, so our guys can learn about the different things. One time we took a hike and we tried to follow the trail map just as a learning experience, how to turn different ways, and it was fun. Luckily, we didn't get lost. I did bring 3 of my guys here that help with a lot of things here, and they're sitting back here. If you want to raise your hand, it's Edward, LeVar, and Vince. So afterwards, if any of you guys want to introduce yourself and talk to them, that would be great. Some coming here to Nolde has helped enrich their lives and expose them to so many new things. Many of our individuals go home and don't get out into the community very much. Some spend a lot of times on their iPads or watching TV. A few of them go home and they lay down in their beds, or they don't get out of bed sometimes too much. So you can only imagine what it's like for some of them to get out and enjoy the things they wouldn't really get a chance to do. I can't tell you how much joy it brings to me when they learn something new and enjoy it, or when I'm at work and I watch my individuals put on their volunteer vests and see how proud they are to come out here and do a job. It's important to them, and it means a lot when they form relationships here in our community. And I can say, here at Nolde, they have done that. The staff have been awesome. Thank you. I can't thank Nolde enough. It is a win-win situation. I am proud of our working relationship we have and look forward to helping out in future projects. Thanks.
Next up is Dr. Jamie Becker, Professor of Biology at Alvernia University.
Thank you, Brent. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for having me here. I did bring a recent graduate from Alvernia and a soon-to-be graduate from Alvernia. So this is Alex and Christina. Please reach out to them, get to know them after we're done with the formal part today. Because I think nothing I'm going to say is going to be as powerful as things that they could tell you about their experiences here. As a person in higher education who teaches primarily biology and environmental science courses at Alvernia University, I feel beyond lucky, I would use the word spoiled probably, to have Nolde Forest a 6-minute drive from my campus. For the past 5 years, I've been bringing students here from my upper level ecology course, because I always tell my students that ecology is an outside science, right? It doesn't make sense to me to have those laboratories occur within 4 walls. So coming here for 3 labs every fall, bringing those young adults, right, individuals in their early to mid-20s, that can be a challenging age, right, depending on what their prior experiences with the outdoors is, right? We always say it's easier to learn things when you're younger, right? You've got that natural curiosity. You're maybe not as jaded, or you don't have as many misconceptions, right? So bringing some young adults in that age range here to experience this place is something I could not replicate somewhere else. We come here and we talk about population dynamics, and we use one of my favorite inhabitants of the forest, the box turtle, as an example, so a living laboratory where students get to understand that individual and how we can use its shell like a fingerprint to identify those organisms and look at if their populations are increasing or decreasing. We do some water quality analysis right back there in Punch's Run, so this pristine first order stream, and I'm sure many in this room are well aware that we don't have many of those streams left in the state of Pennsylvania, let alone the planet. So to have that that body of water there to use as a control, as an example of what pristine water looks like. My students can then use that in a comparative way where we take samples in more impacted waters as we get further down Angelica Creek and into the Schuylkill River and into the city of Reading, let's say. They can make comparisons, which we couldn't do if that pristine body of water wasn't here in the forest. And then the very last lab that we do every fall, we come right here into this classroom. I can attest to the humidity of this room before the renovation, so there's your infrastructure. And we come in and go to the feeder watch stations right behind where you're sitting now. It's a perfect way to end the semester. I have students tell me when they walk away that they're just in a different frame of mind. There's something therapeutic about watching birds, much like you hear about watching fish in a fish tank. And it's a perfect way to tie a bow onto that course. In addition to the formal course, I've had students come here for their independent research projects. So again, using Nolde Forest as a living laboratory. I had a student working over in Painted Turtle Pond. She was developing a molecular assay to look at this particular fungal pathogen that we know is really devastating to amphibian populations globally. Luckily, she didn't detect it in the pond, so that was great news. But she wrote about that research experience in her application essay to medical school. It talked about how it's a transformative experience for her in her education, and she's now at a prestigious medical school in California. I'm not saying it was just the essay that got her in, but I'm sure it played a role. I have another student who worked right in Punch's Run with the Mayfly, the remote sensor that's there that takes continuous measurements of the quality of that water. He went on to get his master's degree at Villanova in environmental education, and now is an educator in Boulder, Colorado. So when you follow where students end up, I think that's where you really start to see the impact of their experiences in a place like Nolde Forest. The last thing that I'll say is it's a little harder to quantify, but I get anecdotal information from my students all the time that after being exposed to this place, either through their research or through those laboratories, they come back, not when I'm making them come here for attendance purposes, right? They come back to walk, they come back to study, they come back to be outside because they feel that intangible connection to the environment that they've been lacking when they spend the majority of their time indoors, right? We know that draw to devices is stronger than ever, right? We see it throughout those age groups that we've talked about here today. One of the most impactful moments in those laboratories is when we're out in the forest and we ask the students to just put everything away, put your devices away, stand still, close your eyes for 60 seconds, for just one full minute, and just let your senses take over. And you talk about afterward what you felt, what you heard, and what that experience is like. And it's really interesting to hear the feedback. Initially, a lot of times students say it was weird at first, I felt awkward, I felt exposed, but just in that 60 seconds, there's often a transformation that occurs by the end where they start to feel different, they start to feel connected, right? It's what our ancestors used to do all the time. We were outside all the time. Having experiences like that is important to connect with where we came from as a species, and also super important to think about where we're going as a species. And we couldn't do it, but we couldn't have that educational experience for these students without Nolde. So I just want to say thank you again so much for being here and for opening your doors to us over the last 5 years. And with that, it is my honor to introduce Dr. Murray, Commissioner for the Christian Leinbach, Berks County Commissioner. Nope, I'm all over the place. It says Commissioner twice. It's not my fault. Dr. Murray, everybody. Thank you, President.
Thank you. So good morning. I am Dr. Jennifer Murray. I'm the superintendent of the Reading School District, very proudly. Reading is the fourth largest school district across Pennsylvania, and we serve over 18,000 students in our district. So it is with great pleasure and appreciation that I stand here to share the invaluable partnership between the Reading School District and Nolde Forest and Environmental Educational Center, and the immense importance of investing in infrastructure here at Nolde to support teaching and learning. So for years, Nolde has been more than just a beautiful stretch of preserved land. It has been a living classroom and a place where learning extends beyond the textbooks and into the heart of nature. Since 1972, it's over 50 years, their dedicated staff have made it their mission to provide the Reading School District students with experiences that they would otherwise not have. Through in-class presentations, elementary schools in our district benefit from lessons on wildlife, conservation, and ecology. These are critical topics that help our students understand the world around them. But Nolde Forest does more than just teach. They inspire. They awaken the curiosity, foster a sense of responsibility for the environment, and give our children tools to be stewards of nature. Just 2 weeks ago, the staff at Nolde were in classrooms at 13th and Union Elementary, 13th and Green Elementary, and 16th and Hawk Elementary School, and they were teaching and learning with students. And their commitment does not just stop in the classroom. Through field trips, our students step into the forest and witness firsthand the wonders of creek ecosystems, the habitats of animals and birds, and the delicate balance of nature. And for many of our students, children who grow up in an urban environment, sidewalks, concrete, these experiences are transformative. They are moments of discovery, of connection, of inspiration that would not be possible without the generosity and dedication of Nolde Forest team. Just last week, the third graders from the schools I mentioned not only learned in the classroom, but they were here in Nolde Forest learning about habitat, animal adaptations, and that connect with their in-school lessons. Some of the Nolde programs that benefit Reading School District are the One Bird, Two Habitats, Schoolyard Science, Animal Evidence, Exploring Freshwater Communities, there's a lot of them, Books and Boots, teacher workshops, after-school STEAM camp, and guided yoga and meditation walks. We are especially grateful for the additional funding that allows these vital services to continue, ensuring that city children have access to these enriching experiences here. This support is more than just financial. It's an investment in the future of our students in their education and their ability to connect with the world around them beyond their own neighborhoods. And we often talk about the importance of partnerships in education. And Nolde Forest is the shining example of what it means to invest in young minds, to open the doors to new experiences, and to enrich the lives of students in ways that will stay with them for an entire lifetime. On behalf of the Reading School District, our students, teachers, and families, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to Nolde Forest for their services, and especially Governor Shapiro for his investment. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to education, conservation, and our children. Together, we are nurturing not just students, but future scientists, environmentalists, and caretakers of our planet. Thank you so much. Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce Berks Commissioner Christian Leinbach.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Secretary Dunn. Brent, thank you especially for your passion. It wasn't lost on me that it used to be DER. DER, without conservation, misses the importance of the education component. Conservation is what it's about. You cannot conserve without educating on what does conservation mean. I'm a person that loves history. I look back in the early 20th century when very few people understood what it was about, and Teddy Roosevelt began the national park system. Back in the early 20th century, if you looked around Berks County and talked to any historians, many of our mountains, Blue Mountains up where I live, didn't have any trees. Because of efforts of the national parks, the state parks, state game commission, state forest, that has fundamentally changed. Nolde, did you listen to, he planted these trees around 1904. That is a story to tell. But fast forward, in the 70s and 80s, we saw environmental regulation come into play. And there's all kinds of politics around it, but here's the reality. People that live in Berks County remember in the 60s when the Schuylkill River was largely a dead river. And today, you can fish and you can eat the fish. We need to teach. And conservation is what it is all about. And there's two types of teaching. I learn a lot by going into the woods. I grew up hunting, fishing, even trapping in high school. I took my children hiking, my grandchildren, but you also need the formal education that takes place here in a place like the Nolde Environmental Center. And one of the things I remember from many years ago, I don't know who said it, and I want to close with this. And you saw this demonstrated at the very beginning. I believe it's Francis Nolde. Francis Nolde is an example of education from Jacob Nolde. And it's this quote: "Our children are the messages we send to a time we will not see." What kind of message will they send? Because of what the Commonwealth, Governor Shapiro, Secretary Dunn have been able to do to support the mission of Nolde, you can be confident that these children will know about the message of conservation and environment, and they will send good messages into the future. Thank you.
Next,
forgot to.
it's okay. Next up, State Representative Jacqueline Rusnock, our most recently elected official in the space. And thank you so much.
My apologies.
No problem, no problem. All right, so I just want to say thank you to everyone. I am newly elected State Representative Jacqueline Rusnock, and I am so happy to be here today. And I wasn't expecting to see so many faces out in the audience, but I'm encouraged by seeing all of you here too, because it just shows just how important spaces like this really are. And Brent, just to say to you, and I'll echo the commissioner's sentiment, your passion is amazing, and I appreciate the passion that you have for this place. So it takes people like you to make sure that places like this still exist. Just to give you a little insight, before I became state representative, I was in the classroom. I was teaching 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students at Reading-Muhlenberg Career and Technology Center. So I appreciate your efforts as well, and will echo some of your sentiments, Professor. So thank you for that. And so I was a dental hygienist for 25 years. I started the program at the Career and Technology Center, and so we have students coming from both the school district of Reading and Muhlenberg coming out there, and you're right, a lot of them concrete, and buildings, and they don't know the benefit of getting out into nature. And so although I could not, bring them over here to Nolde Forest at the Career and Technology Center, we have an orchard. And sometimes I would say to the kids, you know what, guess what? We're going to go out and we're going to go on a little field trip. And they were like, oh, where are we going? And I was like, we're going to go out to the orchard. And so for some of them, it was an experience just to go out there and see, the different types of fruit trees that we had out there, and just to see the the beehives that we would have, and just to be able to kind of have some different conversations with them, because, I come out of the classroom, but I will tell you, echoing your sentiments, learning does not always happen within four walls. And so what a classroom we have here. I know we're talking about this classroom, but the forest itself is an incredible classroom, and to be able to have access to it is just, undescribable and invaluable, I truly believe. So I love that school-age children and adults alike can come and explore these 665 acres, and I know we've added to some of the acreage that you have here, but it's beautiful, deciduous and coniferous trees that have been planted, beautiful woodlands and plantations, and that all started, mind you, and you have talked about, how this got started, but with a single white pine. A single white pine inspired the Nolde family to, produce something like this. So for me, that is truly incredible and inspiring to me as well. So these lands help children and adults alike develop skills and concepts that are focused on environmental education. And as I shared with you, I was teaching them about the profession of dentistry, but I felt like as a teacher in the classroom, I had a bigger responsibility to kind of share some of my knowledge and expose them to other things in life that they might be able to carry with them, and inspire them to do other things just besides have a career in dentistry. So this, I truly believe, is an amazing place and has an ability to make a lasting impression. And I would just like to share a little story with you. I'm a product of this type of learning, and it has made an impression, lasting impression on me for sure. And I had an amazing fifth grade teacher at Riverview Park Elementary School in Muhlenberg Township, and he set up a field trip for us. I live close by to a silt basin, and so he took us all out. And he had us identifying trees and leaves and wildflowers and, different types of habitats and wildlife that were out there. And that experience truly made a lasting impression on me, and it has created my love of nature and all things, nature out there. So students and adults and our environment can learn and benefit greatly from what Nolde Forest and this education center have to offer. And I have walked these beautiful trails. You had implored people, if you haven't gotten out here, please go out and walk these trails and soak it all in, because it truly is an amazing place and a place of peace too, especially in these tumultuous times. And people are feeling uncertain and have some fears. I truly believe coming out in nature can help to calm you, breathe in this fresh air, and find a space of peace, if only for just a little bit of time. So I've enjoyed walking the trails. I've enjoyed interacting with the diverse habitats that are here, and it has brought a sense of peace to me when I've been out here. So I've also enjoyed checking out the teaching stations that you have along the way, and have opened up those little doors and checked out what's in there, and crossed along the little wooden planks to get you into an area that maybe you wouldn't normally go into. So I can appreciate that. And the learning experiences truly abound here in Nolde, and, nature's classroom, as I like to call it, and it can leave a significant impact. So I've often told my own students that you're never too old to learn. They often tell me, I can't wait to graduate and get out of here. And I said, well, you may be willing to, can't wait to graduate, but your learning truly never ends, and it doesn't matter how old you are. So I tell them that, they'll be learning till, they take their last breath, in a sense. So it's places like these, Nolde Forest, that allow learning to continue well beyond our classroom. And that's why when I put my teacher hat on, I'm honored to be here today. And I am dedicated to preserving and nurturing these, wonderful spaces, all while creating, opportunities for joy and discovery in all ages. So land for life, nature for all, I think is a great statement. And we all know that can't happen without the much needed funding from, different places. And I will tell you that Governor Shapiro has demonstrated his, feeling in this, and he's demonstrated how he feels about it by, dedicating some much needed funds to these places. I am so thrilled to be a part of, that side of things now, and I am looking forward to, working with our senator and providing, the funds that we need, not only for Nolde Forest, but for all of our beautiful state parks across the state of Pennsylvania, making sure that we have these beautiful natural classrooms for generations to come. So thank you so much for being here today, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of this today as well. So. And it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce our great Senator, Judy Schwenk. So.
Thank you, Representative, and I think it's good afternoon, folks. Good to see everybody here. When I walked in this room, I saw so many familiar faces, and my eyes were just darting all over the room. And I know so many of you, and I know why you're here. You feel like you own this place, don't you? You do. You do own it. This is ours. This is a special place for those of us, not just who reside in Berks County, but all over this Commonwealth and frankly in this great nation, if they find out and discover that this is a wonderful place to visit. you represent different groups. I see one of my old master gardeners here, Kathleen Nyman. I see folks from the watershed associations, folks associated with ornithology. All of these groups that come not only to learn, but also to volunteer. That's how you own this place. That's how much you care about this place and what it can present and represents to us. And I thank you. I thank you all, because it really wouldn't be like this. It's not just state dollars. And I know that Secretary Dunn recognizes it. We have to take ownership of it. And you've all done a wonderful job of it. And to Secretary Dunn, thank you so much for being here. She likes to come here. Do you notice that? She really enjoys being here, because she walks the talk. Trust me, I've known her for many years, and I'm well aware of her love of nature and for all of our state parks. But she loves this place because Berks County is indeed special. Think of the iconic parks that we have, our county park system, the entire trailways, network that we have here, and of course, the iconic Hawk Mountain and others that I can't even think to name. But there is so much that we have the opportunity to enjoy. And all of us need to, again, take that responsibility for doing that. Nolde holds a special place, certainly. I'm looking at our students from Governor Mifflin. Weren't you here when you were little kiddos, too? This is one of the first field trips that you have when you're a student in Berks County, is to come here. And Secretary Dunn, as you talked about, and we all got a little emotional thinking about what this place means to us, but you talked about specifically how watching children learn kind of grips you, doesn't it? When we see kids get that spark, that understanding of what nature can bring to us, what it means. When they start to love, being outside, or to identify a bird or a flower or a tree, that is special to us. That matters to us, because we know those values that we hold so dear are being carried on. They are moving forward in our next generations, and that's the important part of such an important role that these places offer to us. Secretary Dunn also talked about the fact that these places are sources of economic development. The department has a program, conservation landscape initiatives, that kind of aggregates all of our parks together and quantifies the value that they have to our economy. It's significant, it truly is. We are contributing to it as well, but so many others that come to visit also bring their dollars here and spend them. So I'm rounding up the program here today, and we've talked a lot about our personal experiences and how we're instructing youth and adults in terms of what nature can mean to us here. And I hope for many years that this place and our other state parks can continue to go on and do that. Right now, we're in budget hearings in the state Senate as well as in the House. And I can tell you that there's no disagreement when it comes to investing in our state parks. There might be a little conversation, but definitely there just is, we see that value. It matters to us as legislators, and it matters to you as well. Commissioner Leinbach, I was a county commissioner too. I know there are people that really care a lot about our county prison and some of those other features of the criminal justice system, but what do they care most about? Our parks. They really do. When we would have to make budget cuts in parks, we heard it. We definitely heard it, and it's just a small part of our budget, but it means so much to us. And on the state level, it's not that huge of a dollar amount, but think of what it gives to us. I hope I can count on every single one of you to make your voice heard in terms of what you would like to see and how you would like to support these special places, because if we don't, then it may not happen. So please keep those voices up, lift your voices so that we can hear them in Harrisburg and beyond. I know Governor Shapiro certainly gets it. The idea that we're going to have the first underground park nationwide, is that the case?
Not nationwide, but statewide.
Statewide, all right, well, I'll go for that.
The governor wants to catch up to the other states.
Yes, he's very competitive, I get that. But thank you all, you took some time out to be here today. I so appreciate what you have done to make this possible, and you can count on me, and I believe on our state representative too, that we'll go back to Harrisburg and keep working to make sure that these assets remain for us. It's that important. Thank you so much.
With that, thanks everybody. Thanks. I get emotional. I do. It's why I write notes. It usually helps me like work through it, but not always. When I look out there and I see individuals' eyes, it's really difficult. Particularly when I see my team out there. Please stick around if you'd like. Join us. I'm happy to take everyone for a walk over to the mansion, those of you who haven't been there. If you can't stay today, this Sunday happens to be the first Sunday of the month, which means we host an open house, 1 to 4. It's free. And we love to show videos, and we have dedicated volunteers that serve as docents and show the place off. So if you can't stick around now, other things coming up, we're going to be at Earth Day in Reading. We're there every year, so join us there. Come meet up with us there. And look online. We got so many programs. I certainly can't remember them all. We have many programs going on. So thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. From my staff, our volunteers, friends, thank you.